Hey guys, so we're going to create a different kind of infographic today. This is going to be a timeline infographic. Once again, this is just going to be a sample version that's mostly just going to be focusing on the graphics, on like the sort of like, graphic design aspect of it, and not so much the data representation. Essentially a timeline is, you've done these before for various projects, I imagine, in various classes. But the idea behind an infographic is simply that you're going to be, kind of creating a kind of linear map, and you're going to be trying to come up with a way of separating the different moments in time in a graphical manner. So essentially what we'll be doing is creating a gradient, and then we're going to be sort of expanding it into different sort of blocks and stuff. So the technique that we're going to be using basically goes like this. So we're going to create just a long rectangle that goes sort of across most of the canvas, not quite the entire canvas, and we're gonna center this here in the canvas so we can't kind of get this lined up here. About right there. And what we'll do is we're going to apply a gradient to it. So under Fill, find your little gradient swatch here and go to Gradient Options and pick two colors that are sort of similar in warmth, sort of analogous, if you recall that right there. So maybe like a red or an orange, and like more like a red color here, or maybe even like a yellowish color here. Maybe not quite to green. I'm gonna make sure that my my saturation's down a little bit here for both of these, just because I don't want to be too terribly I don't want it to be too terribly hot. I don't want it to be too terribly bright. I just want it to be kind of like subdued here. So I've got like an orange and I've got a yellow here. If you wanted, choose, for instance, once again, just sort of just like a yellow and a green, or a green and a blue, or like a teal and a blue, indigo, or an indigo and a purple, or a purple and a violet, whatever. That's fine. You don't want to have you don't want to have to go too terribly far, because you want it to have just some semblance of gradual transformation. If it goes too far, then you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that transformation quite so much. Okay, so with this little gradient created here that goes from in a horizontal fashion, let's go to Object and let's go to Expand. And where it says specify steps, I'm going to start off with 10 objects here, where it says specify 10 objects. You press OK. And you notice we don't have 10 objects, we have 5 objects. The 10 objects refer to the 5 objects here, and then the 5 outlines, along with some other things here. So 10 objects creates the 5 little rectangles here. If you want more, you can kind of experiment with the different numbers here. I'll go to Object, Expand, and say, for instance, I'll try like 12 or so, and see what happens at 12. And you see it's 6 objects, so it kind of divides that by 2. So the precise mechanics of that isn't really important. The whole idea is that it's about half of what the number is. So I'm going to go ahead and go with 10 here. So I'll just go to Expand. Under Fill, have the fill checked in with specify 12 objects. I'll do that, and I'll go ahead and make sure that my stroke is off there. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to just kind of make a little border here with these things, with another little block on the side here, on both sides. Make a little block here, and I'll see if I can't just turn that gray, sort of a neutral color. And I'll select everything, and I'll make this just a little bit smaller, just to fit inside. I'll hold down Alt. It's gonna fit inside here. Okay. All right. And so what we'll do here at the top, I'll make my little title here. I'm going to say timeline of events, and then I'll just make that bigger. Once again, change this to a different font. Maybe I'll change this to something like I don't know. I'll just pick a different font, kind of random here. Berlin Sans, that sounds good. And I'll just make that bigger. Hold down Shift whenever you resize things. hold down Alt, drag it down, and I'll just say, you know, maybe 2015 through, well, maybe 2010 through 2015 or so, because we have 5 different years, right? And so if you want to go, maybe instead, if you want to like have this be 10 years, you can have them all go by 2s. The whole idea is that each one of these things is even in size, so you want them all to be kind of like even in terms of increments of that, right? And so I'll just have timeline events. I'll just shrink that down some. And what we'll do, we just group all this together, Control G, and I'll just align these guys here to the artboard, and I'll just align all this to the artboard. Oh, I got a text. Right, and okay, cool. All right, so with that done, a real simple method of kind of making a point of pointing at each one of these things is we'll just create a little rectangle here. Goodness me, do I have a messenger open here? I'll just click off that, and we'll go here. All right, so what I'll do is I'm going to go to I'm going to get my fill off for this rectangle here. Now, trying to choose this color as my stroke is going to be difficult if we don't first isolate this color. So I'm going to get my direct select tool. I'm going to click on this little block here. I'm going to go over to my fill, and I'm going to hit this little button that says New Swatch, and I'll just hit a new swatch, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just press OK. I'll do the same thing for each one of these things. I'm going to click on this, go to Fill, make a new swatch, press OK. Click on this one, go to Fill, make a new swatch, and as you can see, I'm adding each one of these little colors as a temporary swatch for this particular project. They will disappear as soon as I close this out. But I'm just going to real quick go through these, and then one by one add a new sort of swatch here, and end with this yellow. Okay. And so what we'll do is we'll just once again come up to this little circle, the square that we made here, and we'll go over to our stroke. We'll pull our stroke up to, say for instance, maybe 2, maybe 3, 4 points is fine. I'll make the corners rounded, and the caps rounded as well. And where it says the little color here, I'll just choose this color, and I'll do the same thing. I'll grab my line segment tool, or you could even use your pen tool, and I'll just draw a straight line from the bottom there, and so we can see this little square is now formed. Now I'm not necessarily going to be using this the exact size. I might make this a bit bigger here, just to make it a little bit bigger. So I'll just hold down Shift and make it bigger, make it a square here, and I could just here just kind of grab this. Just Alt drag this here, and I'll just start off with 2010, and maybe even pull it this way here, kind of center it with this box. And okay, and then with that done, I'll just drag this down, click on this right here, and shrink this down in terms of its text size. And you can start filling this in with, like, just, you can name a certain event that happened in 2010. I don't know. For instance, I was like, first began working at St. George's Episcopal. Whoops. All right, so that happened to me in 2010, right? That was a big event that happened to me in 2010. So I'll pull that down here. And we can kind of center both of these. I might even like justify this text here. I'll center all this. Oops. Get all this justified, or at least centered. All right. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to pull all of this, hold down Alt. I'm just not going to drag it to the next one, but to the one right here in the between here. And what we'll do once again, we'll just sort of populate this with different events that happen from year to year. So for instance here, I'll hold down Alt, drag this like so. Looks like that's 6 already, so that's fine. And I'll do the same thing here. What I'll do is I'll just I'll drag this, and then what I'll do is I'll just click on just the shapes here and rotate them 180 degrees. You can hold down Shift to make sure they rotate correctly, and drag them here like so, and get my text centered in like this. And I can then sort of, oops, center everything to this guy here. And then what we'll do is we'll just all drag them same like we did before, like that and like that. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to separate like these little boxes by taking the boxes and changing their strokes to the various colors. So for instance here I'll make it this color, little brighter orange. This one right here, I'll make it, oops, a little lighter orange. Get my little tangerine color here. Don't select the text. 1, 2, 3. Is that right? Oh. And then right here. Okay, and then I'll fix the dates one by one. This will be 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. And so I'll just populate these with the various things that happened. So year 2011, went to Honduras for a mission trip. Over here, 2012, bought a house for the first time. 2013, began, I know that's not quite right. You know, something that happened in 2013, I don't know, I think I bought a hat. 2014, I think maybe, for instance, I might have played piano at a jazz club. That's a thing that definitely happened. I'm definitely not making that up. And then 2015, totally true thing. My son was born. All right, so this is a thing that was. These are all things that happened in October, and I can definitely just go through each one of these things and just make sure they're all centered. And then obviously center them here. And I'm just gonna, one last thing here. I'll shrink this down a little bit more, just you know, alt there, and then I'm gonna make another rectangle that's gonna go kind of halfway from the timeline here of events. I'll just draw this out, and I'll make this a square here. I'll make sure this thing is centered in the artboard here. So I'll go to Window, Align, and I'll center this in the artboard, like so. I'll take the fill off. I'll put the stroke onto black, and I'll pull the points up to say about 4. And let me just hold down Alt and just drag it to where it's about halfway in between the timeline events. And I'm going to get my scissors tool here. And I'm going to cut this right about here. So now my scissors, where are they at? Over here. Nope, not slice. Not the artboard tool. I know I can see them here. I think it's under erase. Yeah, here we go, scissors tool. And I'll just sort of cut right here. And I'll cut right there. And I'll just grab this right here and just, oops. Like that. And so now we have this little bit here, right? So that looks kind of nice. So I'll look at my anchor point tool, just drag that forward here. Okay. Okay, and so once again, if you want to change the background color to a different color, just make sure that everything else kind of stands out well. All in all, I think this is a fun little timeline, just fun little colors there. I could even change the color of this just to kind of match up with what's going on, or change these colors to more of a gray color. That might look nice as well. I might do that real quick, see what that looks like. I'll take my this right here. I'll change the fill of this to this sort of dark gray here, and I'll change the stroke of this to that same dark gray. That's good. And we'll do the same thing down here. So just the whole idea when it comes to color, just making sure that things are hierarchical and things, you know, don't stick out any more than they should. All right, that looks good. Okay, cool. All right, so once again, just go to your file, export for screens. Name it something like timeline. We're going to say timeline 1 because we're making another timeline tomorrow. Just go ahead and export this artboard and submit. You know, you'll see it here next to your donut chart that you made the other day. Timeline events, you know, all this other stuff, right? That's a fun little infographic, a way of sort of once again putting your this. You've done timelines before, but how can we make them look nice? How can we apply graphic design to different kinds of ways of demonstrating data and making these things a little more easily sort of understood? So, all right, cool. Can't wait to see you guys produce. See you in class.